Let's say, for example, we're going to create a program that computes the area of a circle given its radius as the program's input. So we could write the program this way. Say we have here the Java class circle, and this has a main method so that this will be executable. Say we use scanner for us to be able to input the radius value, and we declare radius and area as our variables. And then we could say this program computes the area of a circle, and then asking the user to input the radius of the circle. And then this is the variable where we are going to store the radius of the circle, and of course we use next int because radius is declared on top as an integer variable. Okay, and by the way, these two are local variables because these are declared inside the main method. Now that we have radius, we could compute for the area of a circle using the formula, which is pi r square. So we call or we access the constant value pi from the math class. So take note, pi is a constant, and so it is, by the naming convention, the name of the constant is to be written in such a way that all the letters are in uppercase. And this is a static field under the class math. So that is why it is accessed via the class name math. And when you declare a constant, you have to use the keywords static and final. Static so that it will be having the same value, and final to make that value final or fixed. It cannot be changed, and therefore it is a constant. And after that, we display the radius and of course the value of area, which is formatted in such a way that we display two decimal places only. And then we close scan. Now we could write the program this way and then run it. So this is now the running session. You could input 2 as the radius and it will give you the area. But this program is not using the object-oriented programming style. Okay? It is not treating circle as an object. It's not employing the OOP concept. So to write the program using the OOP style, we have to treat circle as an object. For object circle, the two key aspects of object circle are its states and its behaviors. For the states, these are just descriptions about the object circle. We can have this for radius, diameter, area, and circumference. But the primary one is radius because all the three others are dependent on the value of radius. We could actually compute diameter, area, and circumference based on the value of radius. And for the behaviors, these are the actions or the computations that we can do with object circle. We can have these three behaviors or actions. First is compute circle's area, compute circle's diameter, and compute circle's circumference. Now recall that when you represent an object as a Java class, these states would now become the fields of the Java class, and these behaviors would now become the methods of the Java class. And so considering this object circle, we could create an object circle. To rename circle, we have to right click the Java class and then go to refactor and then click rename. And then say instead of circle, we just say using circle. And you click finish. You have to rename the Java class that way using refactor rename so that all the references of the class name circle will be changed to the new name, which is using circle. We change this to using circle. The class name also here is changed to using circle, and all the rest of the references of the previous or the old name circle will be changed to using circle. And after that, we could create now a new class, and this is circle without the main method. Just click finish. So with this Java class circle representing the object circle, the fields now are radius, public, as the access modifier, and the radius is integer type. Then for the computation, we would say the access modifier is public, and then the return type is double, and then the name is compute area. It has no parameters. What it does is return the value of arithmetic expression, which is the formula for computing the area of a circle. So we would say math dot, then pi times radius. Now take note that this method, okay, this is an instance method, and this is an instance field and instance method. We save this, and then we go to using circle. We are going to access this circle object, and so we would instantiate it because the field radius and the method compute area are instance field and instance method respectively. Therefore, you need to instantiate this class so that you could access via the instance of circle the instance field and the instance method. So we would say here circle C is the instance of circle, then we say new, the constructor is this one, and then we save it, and so we can remove this one, and instead of just radius you would say C dot radius, this one, okay, and this is also C dot radius. This is now the radius of circle C, and this is C dot radius, and this is also reference to C dot radius. The compute area, all we have to do is to call this one, okay, compute area, and we replace this one with the method call compute area, but of course this is reference via the instance C dot, okay. We remove this one because this is already performed when we call compute area, okay, this is executed, and we save this. So of course this has no main method, so when you try to run it, okay, there's no way you can run it, okay, it is not executable because it has no main method, but this one has the main method, so we can execute this, and this is the class that access or call the circle class, this one. So we run this, and this is now the execution. Input the radius of a circle, say 2, and enter. The area of a circle with radius 2, which is this input we have here, is this one. So if we run this again, input 3. So if the radius of the circle is 3, then the area is this one. Say if we have two circles, say this is C1, and so this is C1, and this is C1, and this is C1. And then say we have another circle, a second circle, say we put the instantiation here, and this is now C2, and we input the radius of circle C2, and let's remove this one. For the first circle, circle 1, and this is circle 2, and so this would now be the radius of circle 2 and the computation for the area of circle 2. We run this. For circle 1 is, say, for example, 2, the radius. The area of a circle with radius 2 is 2.57, and then input the radius of circle 2, say this is 3, and the area of circle 2 is 28.27. So say for example, we would say the area of circle 1 with radius, and this would be the area of circle 2 with radius, okay, save it, recompile, say this is 4, circle 1 is 4, so this is the area, and say circle 2 is 5, and this is the area of circle 2. Now, what if you have several or more than two circles? It is not efficient for your program to instantiate. For example, if there are 100 circles, you would instantiate 100 times this way, okay? And then you would say C1, C2, C3, C4 up to C100. So instead of doing that, we would declare this instance as an array. So you would say C is an array of type circle of size, say for example, 5 circles. So this is the type of each element. So it would be from C0 up to C4, right? Because the size is 5, the last index of the array is 5 minus 1, which is 4, because you start with index 0. C0 to C4, that would be 5 elements. So you will have Ci dot radius and Ci dot compute area, this one, okay, where your I is, what are the values of I? From 0 up to 4, okay. Say this is a comment. So since C is now an array of circles, so C is now a group of 5 circles. Each element, C0 up to C4, each of the 5 elements is type circle, and so each one has radius and compute area. So this could be C0 dot radius, C0 dot compute area for the first circle. The second circle is C1. You would say C1 dot radius, that's the radius of the second circle. And to compute the area of the second circle is C2 dot compute area, okay? So you have this field and this method for all of these circles. So Ci is a circle, and that is the radius of the first circle, and to compute the area of the first circle. Now, instead of you copying this, having this block of code 5 times in your program, what you're going to do is just to use a for loop. So you could say for I, declare I in here, a local variable I, and you would say from 0, where I is used as the index here, okay? This is your I from 0 to 4. So you would say from 0 while I is less than 5. So the last value of I would be 4 because this is less than, and you would increment I. And then this is open and this is close. And this would now be I. This is I, where I is changed every iteration from 0 to 4. We would say input the radius of circle. This would say circle, concat the value of I plus 1. Why do we put up a plus 1 here? Because the start of I is 0. This one, for the first iteration, I is 0. So we would add 1 to make it 0 plus 1. So the output here would be 1. And then input the radius of the circle. And then display the radius and then compute its area. You could also add here another field which is double type, say area. Say if you want to have a field which would hold the value of area after it is computed, so you could say here area is computed this way. So the value given the radius, you compute for this one, and that value is assigned to area, which is this one, and then it will also be returned to the caller. So I save this and let's go back here. And this is not finished yet, so we would say concat this one, save it. Say we would use println to move to the next line, and this would be \n. We would say Ci gets new circle Okay, so this is to instantiate. So after you have created the array, we have created this array elements already. Every iteration, you have to instantiate each circle so that they will be allocated memory or RAM space. Save this one, run it. The radius of circle 1 is 2. So the area of circle 1 with radius 2 is that one. And then for the second, okay, we have to remove this one here. Okay, put it on top so that it will not repeat. So remove this one, save it, run again, say this is 2, and for circle 2 radius, say it is 3, that's the area, and for circle 3, say the radius is 4, this is the area, and for circle 4, say the radius is 5, and for circle 5, say the radius is 6, okay? So this is an example of creating an array of circles or an array of object type.